Welcome to the Schoology Online Classroom Management Training. During this training, we will discuss tools specific to the big blue button in Schoology. We will briefly walk through tools you'll need to be familiar with as they relate to behavior management and classroom management while teaching remote learners. This brief overview is meant to be an introduction to remote teaching and classroom management and will not exhaust all challenges and situations that may arise. When entering the conference, be sure to unmute yourself and share your webcam so you're able to speak to your students. It's located on the bottom of the screen below the presentation/slide screen. Click the microphone and camera icons. One of the first rules of good classroom management is to state your behavior expectations using positive language. You can do this in the conferencing app by verbally stating your behavior expectations, typing your expectations in the public chat box, and displaying your expectations using the whiteboard or sharing a presentation. It's a good idea to state your positive behavior expectations multiple ways. Behavior expectations should be taught, discussed, practiced, and positively reinforced frequently. If you have explicitly stated your behavior expectations, taught, discussed, and given the opportunity for students to independently practice, then your next step might be to provide private corrective feedback. Click on the student's name in the user's list to begin. Once you've selected the disruptive student's name, you need to click on Start a Private Chat. In the private chat box, give the student an individual reminder of what he or she should be doing using positive language. For example, Nancy, please remember to stay muted unless given permission to unmute and speak. Despite not being able to use traditional behavior and classroom management techniques, we still need to enforce consequences when a student continuously displays inappropriate behaviors that compromise the integrity of the online learning environment. Once you have individually reminded a student of what he or she should be doing using positive language, and the student has still chosen not to comply with the directive, you may now want to individually message the student again, this time stating what he or she needs to do and what will happen if they choose not to comply. For example, Nancy, I need you to stop interrupting the lesson by unmuting yourself. If it happens again, I will mute your microphone. If a student chooses not to comply with your directive, you would then need to click on the setting icon. Then select Lock Viewers. When viewing the Lock Viewer settings, you now have the option to restrict a student or students from using specific features in response to their disruptive behaviors. Any selections made would apply to students that have been locked. You may select one or more features based on presenting disruptive behaviors. For example, if a student is wearing something inappropriate and refuses to stop his or her webcam, you may disable his or her video by moving the status toggle to Locked for Share Webcam. Similar to locking the individual Share Webcam feature, you can also lock Share Microphone for students that may refuse to stay muted. Move the toggle to Locked for Share Microphone to prevent the student from unmuting himself or herself. Similar to locking the individual Share Webcam feature and Share Microphone feature, you can also disable students from sending public chat messages to the whole class. Move the toggle to Locked on the Send Public Chat Messages feature to do so. Similar to locking the individual Share Webcam, Share Microphone, and Send Public Chat Messages features, you can also disable students' ability to edit shared notes in the remote learning classroom. Move the toggle to Locked on the Edit Shared Notes feature to do so. If a student is continuously being disruptive in your remote classroom, you may need to restrict your students' abilities to utilize multiple features. You may want to consider locking specific features such as Share Microphone, Send Public Chat Messages, Edit Shared Notes, and/or See Other Viewers in the users list. Once these Lock Viewer features have been set, you can then apply them to any student on the user list by selecting Lock Viewer. In order to apply the lock features to a student or students, you must select the student in the user's list and then lock the individual student. If you unlock the student, then he or she will have the ability to use all of the features in the big blue button, like Share Webcam, Microphone, Edit Shared Notes, and Send Public Messages. If you experience persistent disruptive behaviors from a student using the conference app in Schoology, please contact your campus administrator.